Everyone in Jiu Jitsu has someone they're quietly chasing. The training partner who started around the same time, but always seems a little sharper, a little smoother, and just slightly ahead. So you tell yourself, if I just train a little harder, I'll catch up to him. But here's the problem. He's probably chasing someone else. So there is no catching up, because Jiu Jitsu isn't a race. Everyone's path winds differently. And the sooner you stop chasing someone else's journey, the sooner you can start constructing your own. And that's what we're talking about today. Why the obsession with catching up to your teammates keeps you stuck, and what you should do instead to move forward in your own unique journey. Welcome to the Alchemy of Struggle, baby. Every academy has it, the invisible race that no one talks about. You start around the same time as someone else. Same skill level, same ambition, same grind. Then one day they're getting promoted, and you're still waiting. So you start doing the math in your head. He trains 3 times a week. I train 4 times a week. How is he pulling ahead of me? But the problem is that you're chasing what you can't see. They're the visible milestones, the stripes, the taps, the recognition, the surface level scoreboard that makes progress look simple and linear. But what you can't see is what's actually driving their growth. Maybe they're studying video late into the night, or they've refined how they breathe when under pressure. Maybe they stopped rolling to win and started rolling to learn. All of that is invisible from the outside. So the real danger of chasing someone else's progress is that you're chasing an incomplete picture. Their intentions, their mindset, and all the stuff they do when no one else is looking. You can't copy that because you don't even know it's there. So what pushes them forward isn't just what they do, it's why they do it, and how they do it, and how long they're willing to stay in the fire. Most people enter Jiu Jitsu thinking that there's a finish line. Once I get my purple belt, I'll feel legit. Once I can tap that guy, I know I've arrived. But every time you get close, you move the goalpost. Because there's always someone better, and always another skills gap. Always another layer that you never knew existed. So instead of finding peace and contentment with your growth, you feel like you're constantly behind, although you're actually making progress. And the real irony is that you might be living out the version of yourself that your past self dreamed of while you were still sitting on the sofa. But you can't see it because you're too busy chasing someone else's story. And chasing someone else's story doesn't just kill your joy, it distorts your learning. You start forcing outcomes instead of exploring and savoring the journey. You stop taking risks because you can't afford to look bad in front of that guy. You become efficient at staying the same. And it's why some people train for years and barely evolve. They're caught in an infinite loop of trying to catch up to someone else's game instead of leveling up their own. So if chasing someone else's progress keeps you stuck, what actually moves you forward? That's where the paradox shows up. You can't brute force mastery. The harder you chase it, the more it slips through your fingers. In Jiu Jitsu, progress hides inside of patience. And when you stop rushing, that's when your skills begin to compound. There's this crazy obsession in Jiu Jitsu with speed. How fast can I get my blue belt? How fast can I catch up to my training partners? And those who build slow build strong roots. And strong roots don't panic when the storm hits. They stand firm. So the only person you should be chasing is the version of yourself who almost quit last week. The one who coasted through rounds, doubted himself, or let frustration take over. You can't control your teammates' progress, whether or not they get recognized, or your coach's opinion of you. But you can control showing up a little sharper than the version of you who was on the mats last week. Catching up and surpassing yourself every day is the true path. And that's how growth compounds, one small self-correction at a time. It's less dramatic, but it's infinitely more sustainable. And the moment you stop comparing, your belt, your progress, your pace to someone else, you get your freedom back. You can breathe, experiment, feel the art instead of forcing it. The mat stops being this weird scoreboard and becomes a mirror for self-correction. And every slow season in Jiu Jitsu, where some people refer to as plateaus, secretly teaches you how to self-regulate, learning to train when you feel invisible and stuck. That's where mat maturity is forged. So you're not just learning guard retention and escapes. You're learning patience under pressure and acceptance in the chaos. That's the part of Jiu Jitsu that does not show up in highlight reels, but it's what keeps people rolling for decades. But the people sprinting ahead, they often burn out early. But the ones who stay curious, who keep showing up through the long, boring middle, end up outlasting everyone. So you don't need to catch up, you just need to keep going. Now I know someone is watching this and saying, but dude, isn't imitation how we grow? Look how Kobe copied Jordan. I agree to an extent. Imitation is how every craft begins. But imitation has an expiration date. It's meant to be a bridge, not a cage. Kobe didn't stay in Jordan's shadow. He used it to expand his own expression. He studied the details, absorbed the principles, and made them his own. And his intrinsic motivations and mindset are what ultimately drove him. But the danger in Jiu Jitsu is that many people never cross that bridge. They stay trapped chasing someone else's rhythm, their pace, and sometimes lose sight of their original motivations. So yes, imitation can be a learning tool, but comparison is paralysis. One builds your foundation, while the other stunts your growth. And if you haven't seen it already, check out the recent video on this channel on why Jiu Jitsu feels so hard. It'll be linked at the end of this video. And if any of this hit home, check out some of the free downloads in the description. Or if you want to go deeper, join the channel membership. And as always, I want to thank the subscribers, the members, and the commenters for helping me level up this content. But remember, there are others who need this message, and they're probably in your own gyms. So let's help them find it. Like, share, and subscribe. Keep up the good fight, and stay safe on those mats. Peace.